Instruction, golf news, equipment, travel, interviews, course profiles, and more. Your weekly fix of all things golf is about to begin. It's the Flagstick Podcast with your hosts, Jeff Potter and Scott McLeod. All right, well, welcome everybody to the Flagstick Podcast. I'm Jeff Potter with a brand new microphone, and he's Scott McLeod with the same old microphone. Sounds so stupid.
It is what it is.
The Flagstick Podcast is sponsored this week by Golf PEI. Golf Prince Edward Island is a premier Canadian golf destination boasting the most number of golf courses per capita in the country. With over 400 fairways closer than you can imagine, top-tier accommodations, and exquisite culinary experiences, it is the easiest golf vacation you will ever book. So why not book a vacation at golfpei.ca? Of course, we want you following us across all social media networks, Instagram, X, TikTok, Facebook. Please subscribe to us on Spotify, Audible, Amazon Music, and Apple Podcasts. And we really do encourage you to subscribe to our YouTube channel. Like us and click the notification bell. Make sure you never miss a single episode or pretty much anything that we post up on the YouTube channel. Lots of new stuff's going to be coming as the season gets a little bit closer.
Which it certainly is.
Which it definitely is getting a little closer. You're starting to see a little bit of the ranges starting to open up. Obviously, Kevin Haim Golf Center is kind of one of those, you know, when Kevin plows the field and gets rocking out there, you know, we're getting close.
Yeah, and we'll get to that a little bit more in the
yeah, for sure. So Scott.
Golf season. She's a coming.
I know. TGL season's winding down, thank God. And
I didn't even know. Well, we'll get into the front end, but I didn't even know the playoff format. And then I just realized it's like they do three different nights or three different competitions, I guess, to decide it. So,
okay, well, anyways, we'll discuss that. This week's show, we're trying to do some different stuff here with the show. We're trying to get now. Obviously, once the golf season starts, we're going to give you some news updates and things like that as things progress. But I really want to start getting away from that a lot, and let our audience, you know, give them the little tidbits here and there, but let the audience go to flagstick.com and get all that stuff. That's why we put it up there. It's in far more detail than we could ever describe on this show because we only, you know, we have as much time as we want on the show, but there's only so much time people are willing to listen to us. So we try to keep things quick and simple on the show and direct you to the website for the news and that kind of information, but we will give you some. But we want to get into more of a, you know, a discussion type format, topics, things to, you know, we have insights, it's opinions. It's not always fact. It's just what we think. And that comes from a long history of being in this industry and knowledge. So it's educated fact, if you will. So we're going to try to keep that kind of thing going again this week. We're going to talk about a number of random things, very random. And we're going to talk about the career of Rory McIlroy, past, present, and future. You know, he's in the news a lot these days for the golf, for his opinions about golf, for his opinions, for his actions. Rory's doing a lot of stuff.
Yeah, I mean, he's in front of the camera, and we hear about him a lot. So
he really is the face of the PGA Tour right now, and probably the face of golf as a whole right now. So it's fitting. We'll have a little chat about Rory McIlroy, probably in the back nine with that, so we have time to discuss it. But let's get to the front nine, presented, of course, by Metcalfe Golf Club. Natural setting, pleasant challenge. Obviously, golf is not that far off. It's close, and it's time to start thinking about the season ahead, and where better to start than with Metcalfe Golf Club. Get on the waiting list, become a member, join one of their leagues, get on a waiting list for one of their leagues, participate in one of the many events that go on there, and save money, more importantly, on golf with their very popular game passes. Visit metcalfegolf.com for all of that. All right, front nine, Scott McLeod. There are some ranges open in the region. Kevin Haim Golf Center, as I mentioned off the top of the show, there is has been open now for, I believe, a week, and there's a few other ones.
Yeah, we've got a few that are opening here. We're starting to hear some different, different facilities. Obviously, we're hearing from people. That's the biggest thing right now. We're getting a lot of DMs and messages from people that, you know, once we had the the good weather. I would say the good weather more in the southern part of the region. Okay, I mean, it was warm up your way, but obviously you've got a little bit more snow in Ottawa than maybe we do down in Kingston.
Mhm.
As a result of it, the number of messages kind of went off the charts. A little people very excited, and I totally understand that. I totally understand them getting excited, and it was kind of funny because I had it was obviously prompted by Kevin opens, posts a picture, and somebody's like, "Hey, do you think it's worth it to drive up to Kevin Hames' place today or whatever?" And I'm like, "Well, first off, you got to make a booking in
Mhm.
advance or whatever." And as far as being worth going up, where else are you hitting balls outside?
Is it worth it? Is it worth it?
I got a kick out of that or whatever. I'm like, yes, it's worth it, but even if it wasn't worth it, what option do you have if you're dying to hit a golf ball outside or whatever? So,
Exactly.
so I mean,
Exactly.
yeah, that's so that's much better. And for people that nine in Belleville, which is a short course and a driving range, they got open as well. That was the last Friday. They both got open as well, and then starting to hear from golf course owners as well. They're getting
Mhm.
excited, but it's tough. The ones I've talked to, especially the superintendents, pros, and so forth, they're like, "Hey, you know what? We just cannot put a date on this right now. So people be warned. There's melting to happen. There's likely more rain to happen. It's well, some of the golf courses look, dry, somewhat snow free, especially towards the, down towards the 401 or whatever the case. Short of Gord Lay at Crooked Creek did reach out. Of course he did. And Gord said, "Hey, I'm trying for March 28th. I'm trying for sooner if I can." So,
But Gord would probably not have bothered closing at all if he could help
if you
it.
could, so you're good there. So, yeah, it's awesome. Um, it's awesome that they're trying to get open, and we'll see. I mean, I think people, again, driving along that 401, seeing golf courses like down in Prescott area, it's pretty good. Although I did see Bill Mincourse from Prescott was down playing in Syracuse.
Hmm.
I think he was his kid and stuff like that, so obviously some people are heading down and playing some courses down Syracuse area and so forth. But I haven't talked to Steve Martineau there yet, but I'm
What
sure
about up
when
your way?
not so much. I mean, I would say Timber Ridge in Brighton will obviously, it's usually one of the earliest to open. I
Hmm.
have not talked to Nolan there yet, the head pro. I'm sure hearing him and Jeremy, the superintendent, will be making a decision at some point. It usually drains fairly quickly. Um, Courses like Trent and Frankfurt, some of those tend to get open earlier, but I haven't heard any confirmed dates from them.
Yeah.
I'm obviously going to have to start, as obviously everybody gets busy, so I
Yes.
we also can't depend on them, messaging us and stuff or whatever. So I'll have to start scouring some websites and so forth. I did add those dates to our calendar,
Hmm.
but the calendar has not been published in a new post for 2025 yet. Although I see from searches on the back side of our website
Hmm.
that people are finding and going, and they're obviously making searches and they're finding the 2024 post, but obviously it has the current calendar
Oh,
that's
right. Okay.
built in there because it's a Google Calendar. So promises as soon as more dates are there. There's not much point in putting up a 2025 calendar
With
post
one date.
with one golf course and two driving ranges that are on
Yeah.
there or whatever. So
Yeah.
promise you all, and I did a post I think on Instagram and Facebook and X saying yes, it will come. Don't worry, be patient.
It's a hot
And
commodity when it gets put up there. So
it is crazy, but the fact is, it's funny when I look back at the searches behind the scenes, and I was like, man, there's a real boost that one day or whatever, and then I realized, oh boy, look at all those searches that were all for that calendar, and it all ended up on that calendar page. So yes, promises. It will be updated soon. It will get a new post by itself soon, and then I'm sure we'll link that back again up on the front page as we did previously. We have the indoor directory up there right now in the menu, and then I think then we'll switch that over. Correct? Is that right?
correct. Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay.
It'll
So yeah.
it'll switch over and there'll be a little banner spot at the top
Yeah.
there just as a click through.
Perfect.
I'm heading to Guelph on Saturday.
Yeah. Yeah. That's where I was gonna go next. It's like
There's tee times
okay.
open at Tarandoa, but I don't know
So
I
Rick,
don't
Rick,
know.
Rick Young, Brian Decker, and Chris Fry played there yesterday. Rick is a
Okay.
member there. Rick is a member there.
Okay.
But I mean, I know you've never played it, have you?
No, and I want to badly, but I don't know if this is going to be the weekend I can do it because,
Yeah.
I mean, obviously I'm going to Guelph because my youngest son Brandon is looking to. He was accepted into the turfgrass management
Mhm.
program officially yesterday. So congrats to him. Still up in the air a few things with respect to the fall and what's going to happen, but
Sure.
there's an open house at Guelph on Sunday, so we're going up on
Mm.
Saturday, spending the night, and then
So
doing a little.
you're gonna find out because I was talking about this with my wife on Sunday because we were driving back from Toronto after we had dropped off our daughter to make her trip to London. Your distance from Ottawa to Guelph is pretty much the same as us from Kingston to London. So
I was just thinking about that because we were looking at where Tarandoa was, and
yeah, yeah, it's
it's
you got to keep
past
going.
Guelph,
Yeah,
but before
yes,
London, right? So
correct.
it's
It's on the other side of Ingersoll and Avon.
So I figured, okay, so anyways, I don't know that golf is in the cards. Just I don't know how we would fit it in given how long a drive it is on
Correct.
Saturday, and I
Yeah.
don't know that after we're done on Sunday that there's going to be a whole lot of time to
Mm.
play at Tarandoa. But that said, as I said to Brandon, if you're attending here in the fall, remember that the golf course is only 45 minutes, 50 minutes away from the university.
That golf
So
course.
yes, so I said if you want to play Tarandoa after you've actually started going to school,
Right.
it's easier for you just to go and play with some
Right.
friends or whatever.
But
Obviously,
otherwise,
he's not going to
he
have a
can
car with him, so who knows how that's going
no.
to work out.
But in Guelph itself, did you have a
Well,
check
Cutting
in?
Fields is the course right at the university, so I mean
Yeah,
that's not a bad golf course either.
that's
But then
really
there is
good.
a whole, but I don't think it's open yet.
No, no, it wouldn't be. So
So but there's a lot of golf courses. I said you're not going to have any shortage of golf courses that you could probably get to in about 5 or 10 minutes. So I think you'll be okay from a golf front, if even if it isn't Taran. Wait to play Tarandoa when I'm coming up when your mom
right.
and I are coming up for a visit or something like that,
Yeah,
and
yeah, yeah.
we'll tip it up there. Maybe get a hold of Rick and
Yeah, Rick and RT, they're members there or
get a
whatever. I
golf in
mean,
with a member.
yeah, and even if you're not, yeah, if you're not going as a member as a public player, it's a public golf course, so you can go and play there, whatever, and it's a fabulous golf course. But yeah, yeah, Cutton Fields was there. It was redone. Obviously, it was a Stanley Thompson course, but some restoration work was done there in recent years by Jeff Bingay, who just did a fabulous job. And I haven't seen the full extent of it yet, but talked to Jeff about that or whatever, and I know it's fantastic, and I've driven by it doing a Guelph tour last year, and it
Mm-hmm.
looks fabulous. So bring in the clubs though, or
Yeah, bring in the clubs for sure, just in
just in
case the
case.
clubs will be
All
in the
right,
car, and then we're
at least
driving
a
up. And
range.
yeah, something.
Yeah,
I mean, he was excited because he just joined the Movati gym here
Jim.
in Ottawa, but the membership that we got was the full membership, so he has access to all of them. And there's a Movati right across the street from the
Did
hotel
it?
we're staying at Saturday night, which
Okay.
is not too far away from the university, but the university has
Yes,
its own anyway.
correct, exactly.
So
So once as a student, you have access to that as well. So I mean, it's all good. So
anyway, we'll see what happens there. He's also going to be working this summer at Camelot on the maintenance team there
yeah, nice.
with Chris. He did an interview. They got along really well. So um, yeah, lots of exciting stuff there. Okay, enough about me and my family.
Yeah.
Let's talk a little
So
bit more about golf.
yeah, so quick one on those DMs and stuff like that, been getting from people. I will say, obviously, we're not going to get into the politics of it here or whatever, but there's been a lot more people messaging and asking about Canadian resorts getaway opportunities.
Mm-hmm.
For a number of reasons, not even just of hey, we don't want to go to the States, but it's hey, we don't want to go to the States because the dollar, the way it is, and having just
That's
came
the
back,
bigger one, I think.
it
I
is,
think
it's huge.
we're overshadowing it a little bit with the
Yeah,
whole Trump tariffs,
yeah,
boycott the
yeah.
U.S. stuff, and I
The
think we're
dollar
really not
is
remembering the
insane.
fact that our dollar sucks against the U.S. dollar right now.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
going down there, yeah, that's great. I don't want to discourage you from going, but
Sure.
it's going to cost a lot more to go right now than it would have a year ago at this time.
Yeah, having coming, been in Puerto Rico, which obviously is a U.S. territory, just the other week, and I mean, it was nice to look up and go, "Hey, a liter of gas is 75 cents," but then you go, "Ooh, I guess that's not really," when you start to think about it. And that was probably the cheapest thing that was
It's
there,
crazy.
because everything else, be it, and here's a wild one. People don't even think about this, and I think this one is, odd. I get it. There's probably reasons for it, or whatever. But when you look at like baggage fees, so you go on an Air Canada / United flight, right? You pay for your baggage fees in here to go to there. You
Hmm.
pay those in Canadian dollars. So it's like $90 for two bags, 50 and 40 or whatever. And then when you go to come back, you're paying that 90 in US dollars, which is a big difference. And I can remember the same thing happened a bunch of years ago coming back from Ireland, and the baggage fees are obviously all in euros.
Hmm.
And you start to do the conversion of that and you're going, holy moly. Yeah, it's a big difference. 90 is not 90, so it's the same. So keep those coming, people. We're happy to help guide you to some different places.
Well, there's a
On the
lot
other,
of great Canadian golf destinations,
there
resorts and
is.
stuff. I mean,
Yeah.
I've been working over the last week with the people from Whistler.
Okay. Yep.
They're doing some marketing campaigns with us starting next week, and
Nice.
they did this last year too, but they
Yep.
clearly want to continue to promote Canadian golf travel,
Sure.
particular to the Whistler area.
Yep.
We've done some stuff with Golf Vancouver Island, and I suspect we're going to be doing that again this year.
Hmm.
And talking to some of the destinations up in Tremblant the
Hmm.
last week. So
But
I
that
think we're going to see,
yeah,
and obviously we have our partners with our marketing partners with Golf
go
PEI
Pia.
for a
Yep.
long time. They love their Canadian golf tourists,
Yeah,
as we call them that, and
and the numbers are going up and up for
yeah.
them. I've
So
seen the recent reports. It's
look,
unbelievable.
you want to go to the States to golf vacation, get it. There's some great places to go.
Sure.
I keep talking about wanting to go back to Pinehurst. I really do want to go back to
Hmm.
Pinehurst to try to figure out how we can maybe make that work in the fall. But there's some great Canadian destinations with some great Canadian golf courses and
Yep.
resorts that you can play. So yeah,
Yep.
feel free to reach out to us. I mean, we've been, have been, are going, or know a
Hmm.
lot about a lot of these
Yep.
destinations. So don't
Yeah,
hesitate to reach out.
and on that side of it too, you obviously talk about the destinations. If marketing people for different destinations and stuff or are listening to this, yeah, reach out as well, because like I said, we're getting those inquiries
Hmm.
both in DMs across all our different platforms. We're obviously getting searches on our websites. People are hitting stories that we've done and things in the past. So it might be smart to maybe sprinkle a few marketing dollars and kind of do some promotion to help, kind of make your facility be a little bit more prominent when
Yes,
people are hitting the websites.
definitely. I want to say something too. Just this has been going on for a long time, and I realize that we're a golf podcast, not an all sports podcast. But I just want to say something with respect to booing the American national anthem at hockey games. Can we knock it off? Like, honestly, can we knock it off? There's no reason to be booing the American national anthem at a Canadian hockey game. You're not booing Donald Trump, which ultimately is what we're all ticked about
But
right now.
but that's what but that's what people
I know
feel way
people
off.
relate one to the other, but
Yes, exactly.
there's a lot of great hockey players on your Canadian teams that are from
Hmm.
the U.S. And
Sure,
when you
100%.
boo their national anthem, they're
Yep.
on your team. It doesn't make them feel too happy about being American,
Yep.
and maybe they don't line up with
Yeah.
Donald Dump's um,
Yeah.
way of his interests or stuff. I mean, a lot of
Yep.
what's going on, that's got nothing to do with the majority of the American people.
Don't
So
paint everybody with the same brush.
please don't, please don't.
I think that's the biggest thing, and it's
you're
across all things. Whether
you're
people
sending
put,
sort of the wrong message about who we are as Canadians too. I mean, we're not, obviously, we've shown that we're not
Mhm.
willing to just back down
Sure,
and take it.
yeah,
But as Canadians, as Canadian people,
hmm,
we're generally friendly
better,
and better than that. We don't stoop to the level that others stoop to, and we don't need to go down to that level. It's a national anthem. We're friends of the Americans. We're friends of the Americans until such time that we're no longer friends with the Americans. So we don't need to boo their national anthem. We don't need to boo them. We need to
Fair.
boo Trump. That's fine. Nobody likes him.
Just boo who you're upset with.
Yeah, exactly. Be
Yeah.
upset with who you're upset with. Don't
Yeah.
throw a blanket over everything. Anyway,
Yeah,
that's
exactly.
my sort of political rant.
No,
But we're not going to get too much politics out of this podcast. I guarantee you that.
But that blends into the same kind of situation when I hear people making criticisms of like golf media. It's like, okay, be upset with the people within. Don't paint everybody with the same brush.
Yeah.
Not everybody is the same. So
yeah, and golf media nowadays is different too because there's so much of the social media stuff. There's so much of podcasts like this, but we were golf media before podcasts. So it's not like we just set up a podcast just so we could be in the golf industry. We've been in the golf industry for 30 plus years.
Yeah.
In the media side of it, and beyond that, outside the media side of it. So we're golf media. Podcast is just a major part of our platform now.
And I
but
think
there are a lot that just is sort of like, oh, I'm going to do a blog or I'm going to do a podcast, and they're looking to get free crap, or they're looking to just be a part of the golf industry, and a lot of them don't know what they're talking about. They just think they do.
Yeah, and it's just, and everybody's got their space and whatever, but there's a difference between journalism and opinion, and what people classify as media is not always what we count as traditional media. So always vet your sources.
We are who we are.
Yeah,
the history tells the story. Yeah. Okay, we got a few minutes here. Do we want to get into?
I want to get into the stuff that you put a note in here.
Do you want to get into that now, or do you want to push? Okay, we got a couple things we want to talk about. So there's some ranty things that I came across on TikTok.
Do you want to leave that at the back?
Okay, do you want to get into? So we got a few minutes. You want to talk about the Masters?
Yeah, let's do that.
Okay, so we're gonna skip my stuff for now. Move it to the back nine, and we're gonna talk about a tradition like no other. Yes. The Masters Champions Dinner, the menu. So obviously, Scotty Chef is the selecteur of the menu, and he didn't go off of. He didn't go off the page from his previous Masters victory and Champions Dinner, and he kind of went back with the same thing. Though I did hear that there's no tortilla soup. Which I think was on his list last year. But anyway,
I should have went back and looked at that.
The Masters Club dinner, the Champions Dinner, is going to include appetizers. So these are the appetizers, people. Appetizers. Yeah. Cheeseburger sliders served Scotty style.
Yeah, now here's before we get into this.
Okay.
Because not everybody, and I've talked to a couple of people that are kind of new to the podcast, just even this week, which was great, and they're just getting into the game, so they don't necessarily know all the history about it.
Okay, so explain the history behind the Champions Dinner.
Yeah, I'll just give it a little quick background. So this dinner started in 1952. Ben Hogan was the first one to, as the defending champion, and basically the decision was made that we'll have a dinner with all the past champions. The person who won the previous year will select the menu and pay for the menu. And that has become the tradition that has stayed since that time. So that's what it's about. And so there we go.
I think it's a great idea.
Yeah, it's a fun idea. So
we can do that with the Flagstick Open.
I was just thinking about that. So
I don't know if we could get all the past champions back for it. It'd be kind of cool to do, but we have flights in there too. So you might have a lot of people there for the dinner. It might cost way too much money. Yeah. Well, of course, if the past champions are paying for it, why do I care?
They're probably going to say no.
Okay, so anyway, cheeseburger slider served Scotty style.
Okay, so here's the thing. Before you get into
Scotty style.
No. I don't care what it is, Scotty style. I just thought it was funny that it was cheeseburger sliders. I'm like, not only is it a meal, it's a swing technique for Scotty, right? So I don't know if there's a little double thing in there or whatever.
Could be,
watch his footwork or whatever. But I have no idea what Scotty style is. Obviously, how he likes it. So
the other appetizer is firecracker shrimp.
Yep.
With sweet Thai chili and sriracha mayo. I love the sriracha mayo.
Interesting.
Firecracker shrimp. Papa Chef's meatball and ravioli bites.
I hope he is not making these and rolling them themselves.
Sounds good though.
Yeah, but
for an appetizer, that in itself, I'd be full after that. I don't know if I could.
It was making ravioli that he was doing. Remember, he used a wine glass. That's how he broke. He got that cut
Yes.
in his hand with it. So I'm hoping, obviously he's not trying to do this, and obviously it'll be the chef that's at Augusta National
Okay, so
that's doing it.
the first course.
Yeah.
And now we've done the appetizers. Now the first course is Texas style chili, cheddar cheese, jalapenos, jalapenos, corn chips.
What's your
Texas
thought
style
on
chili.
that?
I think that's pretty awesome. I'd rather have that than soup.
I think
I think there was tortilla soup in there
I
in
think
that
there
first
was,
course last
but
time.
I think short of dessert here, we're protein heavy here. This is
Yeah.
meat sweat city, right?
We're also my guts already starting to slide around there a little bit with the sriracha mayo on my firecracker shrimp, and now the Texas style chili with cheddar cheese and jalapenos and corn. We haven't got to the main course. The main course, wood fired cowboy ribeye, that's just crazy awesome, and blackened redfish. And that's served with family-style macaroni and cheese, jalapeno cream corn, soy glazed Brussels sprouts, chipotle lime roasted sweet potatoes. Family style. Now those that don't know what family style is, we know what family style is, right? So family style is put it in a bowl, put it in the middle of the table, and
pass it around.
We had that when we were at Amelia Island Plantation. The resort there, we're down there with Tony Harris, and we had a whole meal where we had the family style with fried chicken and mashed potatoes and the whole deal.
Yeah, we went to a little restaurant in Fernandina Beach.
Yes.
Where we went to. Yeah,
that was awesome. Family style. Love the
which
family
is also
style.
kind of funny because when you do family style at that place, you remember we were sitting with people we didn't know.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, it was just like you go in and you're like,
go.
There's your spot in the table, and there's like 4 or 5 people. You're like, oh, you're
it's
sitting
like
with
buffet,
them.
but it's all in front of you instead of having to get up and go get it.
Plus, you're not choosing who you get to sit with.
No. And for dessert, warm chocolate chip skillet cookie with vanilla bean. Oh God.
Yeah.
This is a calorie nightmare for anybody that's trying to lose weight. Forget it. This is your cheat day. This might be your cheat weekend.
This is your cheat week. That's for sure.
I mean, you might have to starve yourself and eating celery sticks and lettuce for a month after eating this meal. Holy crap!
They certainly didn't kind of mix in a salad of any kind.
No, there's no green in here at all. Aside from I think it's not Brussels sprouts. I mean, to me, this is doing a whole lot of damage to the lining of your stomach. Is what this is doing.
I mean, it looks delicious.
I mean, they even figured out a way to get beans in the ice cream.
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie. I'm not gonna lie. It's looks pretty damn good. I don't think anybody's gonna object to it.
I wonder with the menu coming out now, if some people on Masters weekend will have like their own Masters.
Oh, for sure.
Their Masters dinner where they'll basically make the Masters. I would love to know. I mean, I know that the tens of listeners that we have. I would love to know if anybody actually does take this menu and have a dinner.
Try to make it
like on Masters weekend. I would like to know. Somebody let us know. Either call the office, email us, do a DM us on social. I'm curious to know if anybody does anything special with the Masters dinner following this menu.
And if you do, please give us your address and what time dinner starts.
Yeah, so what time should we be there? Because I really would like to. I might do this. I kind of like this. I might do this. I don't know if I can duplicate Texas chili because I'm not Texas chili. I'm not sure it has beans in it. I'm not a big kidney bean guy. So the kind of texture of them drives me a little bit crazy, but I can work with it. I can work with this. So anyway, this is pretty cool. It is pretty cool. All right. Scott, we're going to take a break.
Awesome.
Unless you have more to discuss with
Nope. That menu looks fabulous, and hey, you know what? It's our first, this and obviously the commercials that we're seeing right now are the first signs of the Masters.
Yeah, less than 3 weeks. Way. Less than 3 weeks.
And I mean, I think the Players Championship was a
big
appetizer for this.
Awesome,
which we'll talk about a bit in the back nine.
Yes, exactly. Okay, so we're gonna take a break. When we come back, we are going to talk a little Rory. And we're going to talk about some of these things that popped up as I was watching TikTok. So stay with us. You're listening to or watching the Flagstick podcast with Jeff Botter and Scott McLeod.
Hey, loser buys the first round. You're on.
On Prince Edward Island, we believe in playing your game your way. From the first tee box to the 19th hole and beyond. With over 400 fairways waiting for you, there's always another reason to golf Prince Edward Island.
All right. Welcome back to the Flagstick podcast with Jeff Botter, Scott McLeod. Fresh new microphone.
Right settings now.
Yeah, I got the right settings. I got it turned around the right way. Everything's good now. Everything is good in life. It's homeostasis.
Okay, sure.
Oh my God. All right.
You need more sleep or something.
We want to get, yeah, probably. We want to get into the back nine, presented by Celtic Golf Center. Now with two awesome locations, which we were just talking about, one in Kempville and the brand new location in Kingston. Both featuring multiple state-of-the-art TrackMan sims. Your golf season never has to end. Enjoy a round of golf with friends. Join one of the many leagues, get fit for some new equipment, or take a lesson. Celtic Golf Centers have got you covered because it really is all about the golf. Visit CelticGolfCenter.com to learn more, book tee times, or to sign up for a league.
Even spot us there filming golf tips.
Exactly. We have a few more already in the bank to get up there. I just finished another one this morning, so it'll be up on the drive. Okay, back nine. So I'm a TikTok guy when it comes to, I watch a lot of TikTok. And I watch too much TikTok. It's like I'm a TikTok addict. I don't know why. I like the shortness of the stuff, and I know you can get that with Reels. Now, some of this stuff is on Reels too. Like I say, TikTok.
Yeah, of course.
It could be on Reels through Instagram or Facebook or whatever too. But
it usually is.
So Paige Sporanic. Now I know everybody knows who Paige Sporanic is, and I don't follow Paige Sporanic on TikTok for reasons that people might think.
She's pretty much on mute in my world these days.
Well,
but
I don't see a lot of her stuff, but for some reason, a few of her I don't know what they call it. She calls them her hot takes or something like that. I don't know why. But she had two in particular that just.
How come her hot takes? And then I've seen a few of her. Or sometimes she posts stuff, and I think she's almost trolling, because I think she knows that some of them are idiotic and not thought through, and then she just wants the fire. She just wants the response. So
I don't know if she's going to get the fire from these ones. The reason these ones caught my eye is because one of them, the first one we'll talk about quickly, is one that we have talked about in the past, but it's just her take on it was just so dumb. Okay. So she talked about 12-hole rounds.
Okay.
Now we've talked about this before because this was something that Nicholas had brought up for us. It's been going on forever and ever and ever about 12-hole rounds. We talked about it. I said, back when we talked about it, if I had to pull the footage, I don't like it. I don't think it's necessary. Whether or not that, but it was so. If you don't want to play 18, play 9. That's pretty much what it's like. It's already shorter rounds of golf are already in play.
Yeah, they're already available.
The whole idea of 12 holes is just. I mean, sure, if there's a new golf course being built tomorrow, and they think 12 holes is the way to go, well, it certainly cuts construction costs. But you're also putting yourself at a disadvantage to be able to host tournaments and things like that, because tournaments are 18 holes until the industry changes its standard.
Yeah,
that's the way it is. So you're kind of shooting yourself in the foot. Don't build an 18-hole golf course. Build a 9, and then you can play 2 9s. But it was the way she was very definitive about saying how golf courses should be 12. 12 holes is the right amount of holes to play.
For her,
and I'm like,
maybe.
And what research did you come up with? What study was done that you could say 12 holes? 12 holes is exactly the right amount of holes to play. Paige, why? Why is 12 holes the right amount of holes to play?
Hey.
What makes 12 holes the right amount of holes to play?
If she can support it with some sort of facts to say that it's right. If it's just a hot take, hey, you're allowed to have an opinion.
Absolutely. But it was like I said, in this case, it was like the way it was like 12 holes. It was very definitive. Like 12 holes is exactly the right number of holes to play.
Yeah.
Okay. And I'm waiting for the punchline. I'm waiting for the rest of it. It's like, because this and this and this and this and this and this. It's like, but there was no this and this. It was just, not for competitive golf, for recreational golf. Well, how do you do that? She says, if you want to play 9 holes, you stop after 9. If you want to play 12, well, then you play another 3.
And then you're stuck out in the wilderness.
And then what? You're in the middle of the forest somewhere. You got to walk back. I don't. The logic. Okay, if you want 12 holes to be the way it is, okay, then you build an 18-hole golf course, and you divide your back 9. When you design your golf course, you design your back 9 so that you have a 9-hole, then you have a 6-hole that loops back, and then you have 3 more holes that loop back, and 3 more holes that loop back. Like I don't know how else you do it.
The bunker in Durham region built 6 and they built, basically it's a 12-hole golf course, and you can play a 6-hole loop, you can play a 12-hole loop, 18-hole loop, but you have to understand that also comes with logistical issues as far as booking tee times, working people in there. Like, it's not as simple as just saying, play 12 holes. I think part of the issue with all this, and look, we're not immune to this. We've been around the industry for a long time, but that doesn't but it means we're more educated in some aspects of things, but we're not experts in everything. And here's the thing. I think what happens is that when people somehow get an audience of a certain kind, somehow they put that as a level of expertise. They equate the two. So she basically thinks, oh, I've got millions of followers, I'm an authority. Well, that doesn't make you an authority. And it's very much, across many topics, across many sports, many things. Confusing the fact that you have a large audience, however you gain them or otherwise, doesn't make you an authority on a particular thing. So again, she's welcome to have her opinion. That's perfectly fine.
Yeah, no problem with her having her opinion, but substantiate your opinion.
Right, exactly.
Have an opinion and then have some fact to back up your opinion.
Correct. Yeah.
And it's still your opinion, even with the fact.
Yeah.
Because people will disagree, as I do.
Of course.
But there's no fact to substantiate the opinion. There's no study that was done. There was no survey that was done to find out what number of holes people prefer to play. Now, maybe there is such a study out there, and I don't know about it. And hey,
she wasn't citing it, obviously.
She wasn't referring to it, so obviously she didn't read it either. And it was just one of these, like, what, why? I don't know. We have 9-hole golf courses. We have 18-hole golf courses. You can play 9 or 18. So if you don't want to play 18 holes because it's too much, play 9. But 9's not enough. 12 is the right amount of golf to play. Why? Because it takes a certain amount of time to play 12. On what planet? It takes a different amount of time to play 9 holes in 18 every time you play, depending on what day, what time of day, what the weather is like. Like, it always will take a different amount of time. So 12, 9, 18 doesn't really matter. 16, 14.
I think, as you said, I think the business case already, from a logistical standpoint, how scorecards are set up, how most facilities are already built, they're already structured.
Their tee time booking system for crossovers and things like that. How are you supposed to do a crossover with 12 holes? 6 and 6?
Right. So, while you might think that's the future of things, if you think it is, a whole lot of things have to change in order for that to be viable. So as a result of it, it doesn't make it as viable as far as a industry standard, for sure.
You have like 4 sets of prices: 6-hole, 9-hole, 12-hole, 18-hole. I don't want to be the one managing that golf club.
No.
Okay.
No.
All right. Second thing, and then we'll move on to Rory, is that she brought up was twilight rates.
All right.
Now, she mentioned that traditionally a twilight rate is, a reduced rate to play golf after a certain time, with the understanding that there is a likelihood that you will not finish 18 holes.
Right.
Okay, so that's what a twilight rate is. So if your green fee is usually, say, $100 for 18 holes, your twilight rate might be 60.
Sure.
Okay, and it's 60 because there's a chance, based on how busy the golf course is, that after 4 o'clock, which is sometimes when twilight kicks in, or after 5 o'clock, or
depending whenever.
And it fluctuates throughout the year as the days get longer and shorter, or get shorter. The twilight rate moves. So, but the understanding is that there's a really good likelihood that you are not going to finish 18. However,
Right.
there is a really good likelihood that you will finish 18. Her argument or her contention is that if you pay a twilight rate and you complete 18 holes and it's still light enough that you should be allowed to continue to play until it's dark.
So all you can play.
So yeah, an all you can play rate. So instead of a twilight rate, it should be a all you can play rate.
Okay.
And I'm like, why?
Well, again,
You paid for 18 holes. A twilight rate, when you pay it,
yeah,
you are paying for 18 holes of golf. That's what you're paying for. 18 holes of golf when you tip it up.
Yeah.
Unless it's a 9-hole twilight rate that starts at 7 o'clock. It's whatever the case may be.
Yeah. Unless a golf course just says play as many holes as you want.
Now, most golf courses that I have played a twilight rate at will generally not say too much if you squeeze another couple holes in. However, there's not that many that will allow that to happen, and they don't want that to happen because they want you finishing. Your twilight rate is timed in such a way that you're off the golf course at a certain time of night, regardless of how many holes you get in.
Correct.
So if you get 14 holes in, you're coming off the golf course at 9 o'clock at night. Now, I know across the street at Metcalf Golf Course where I live, my son Brandon, he'll play until he'll play until he's the last one on the golf course and it's dark out.
But he's a member and he's walking.
Yes. So they want the carts in so they can wash them down and put them away. Like, they don't want you to grinding it as a green fee player. They don't want you grinding it out until 10 o'clock at night just because it's light out so you can slip in 24 holes of golf. Like, I get what she's saying, what she's getting at, but it makes no sense. She's saying that if you pay for a twilight rate and you don't get finished 18 holes, then you should be able to play more if you do get 18 holes. And well, no, you're paying for 18 holes. That's what you're paying for. When you get your twilight rate for $50, you are paying to play 18 holes of golf. But you're paying for 18 holes with the understanding that you're getting that reduced rate because you may not get 18 holes in.
Yeah, exactly.
Otherwise, tee off an hour earlier and get 18 holes in.
The percentage of people that are going to get extra holes in is very, very slim. You know, the highest percentage of those don't get the 18 in. So why is this even, why is she having a hot take on this?
So that we can come on the podcast and talk about it.
I guess. And then on top of that, I think Arizona person, you're in the US, in most places you have golf carts anyways. There's not a lot of walking that's going on. I'm not making an assumption that she walks her carts or whatever, but in most cases, a lot of the golf courses have carts. For the operation side of thing, you want to be able to time it so that your staff can go home at a reasonable time.
Absolutely.
You do not want golfers out on the golf course in the dark. There are liability and safety issues that come with that. So the idea is you're trying to get them off there before that situation happens. Otherwise, you end up with golfers in carts, way out on the
danger.
Fourth hole. So
having some beverages.
Right. So this is the problem, is that people are thinking about it from their aspect of it. In this case, she's thinking about it for herself. She's thinking about for the golfer aspect of it. But this is where we get a selfish society that doesn't think about other people and other things that have to happen at the same time to accommodate that.
Golf courses are trying to encourage people to come out and play golf later in the day. Because they know that if people had to pay $100 to play 18 holes, but they weren't 100% sure they were going to get it in, they're not going to do it. So that's why the twilight rate exists. It's a rate that you pay to play as many holes, up to 18 holes that you can get in before you're asked to leave the golf course because it's too dark or it's too dark to play. That's what a twilight rate is. Twilight rate is not all you can eat. This isn't a freaking buffet. You don't get to pay and then keep going back to the table and getting more fried chicken and beans. You just don't. You get to play 18 holes of golf. And if you get your 18 holes of golf in before dark, then you just got yourself a heck of a deal paying $60 instead of $100.
Yeah.
But you don't get to then tack on more golf. Like that just, I get the concept of, yes, but no.
Yeah.
No. From a business perspective, from a logistics perspective, no.
Yeah. And this is the thing, is that, she's a person that's golfed for a long time. she should know better than this.
She should know better than this.
I get it that people that are new to the game, especially we have a lot of people that came to the game kind of during that COVID period, kind of in the last 5 years or so, don't really know or understand how golf courses work or so forth, and nor that they have to. But on the other side of it, the operations have to, I won't say train, but they have to educate golfers of how things work so that they can have a good facility that they can play in, that's going to be there, that's not going to get sued and go out of business, and a million other things that have to go into the business of it. So, just
100%. Anyway, so that's I could go on and on with her. After I watched those two, I went to her TikTok page and I watched a bunch more of them. And, man.
Yeah.
Just some brutal stuff coming out of her. Okay, so let's talk about Rory, Scott. We've got some time here. Let's talk about Rory. 28th PGA Tour victory win, now within $300,000 of $100 million in earnings. Golf's $100 million man.
Second one.
Second one.
Current.
Obviously,
Tiger's at 120 million.
But think about that. Tiger's been playing. Tiger's 120 million. He's been playing significantly longer on the PGA Tour than Rory. Now, mind you, let's preface this to understand something. When Tiger was winning tournaments and majors, he wasn't winning 10 million for a tournament or 4.5 million. He was winning maybe 2.
Yeah,
in the early days, and that grew, but
not even.
No,
and to give you the really valid comparison to show you the real differences between the two, Tiger at 121 million. 82 wins. Sam Snead at
Sam Snead.
I need more coffee. Sam Snead at 82 wins, 710,000, 720,000. So
solid.
Money is not the is not the the standard to show where the player's success is. Obviously, 28 wins or whatever, but I just thought it was significant because he win 4.5 million here. He's now within that mark. I thought, okay, maybe this is a time to do a little bit of a career watch a little bit on him. Going back, he's been he's been a pro now for 17-18 years already. It's like, so how do we view his career so far? And I mean, going into this year now, he's won at Pebble Beach. And it's still a moment of time. His career's not done. We may look at it slightly differently when he's done, but we also have heard from him in the past little while saying, hey, I'm not playing Champions Tour golf. He said, if I'm still playing golf for money at the age of 50, I've probably done something wrong. Right. Which,
it's interesting. Again, don't you find it interesting that he says that? Tiger has said that as well. But yet those that came before them, that were elite level players like a Fred Couples, like a Davis Love, like Steve Elkington, Jack Nicklaus, even Hale Irwin, Bernard Longer, clearly does not need money, but continues to play the Champions Tour and has never once said, when they were at the peak of their career winning, Bernard Longer won Masters, top level player, never said, I don't want to play the Champions Tour. But these guys are coming out right now, and saying, I'm not playing the Champions Tour. It's interesting that the current cream of the crop coming out does not want to do that. Whereas the old guard, when they came out of the PGA Tour, were no longer, competitive, if you will. Went right to the Champions Tour, the Senior Tour at the time, and started cashing in there.
Yeah, and you can look at it a couple different ways. You can look at it one from the financial aspect of it. Some players wanted to keep doing that to keep making money. They knew they weren't going to make, there was no cuts, so they're automatically given checks. They looked at it as a retirement gig and stuff. And for other people, you know what? There are other great champions that didn't go and play Champions Tour because they had no interest. And part of that is just like, okay, what do I want to do with my life? I've been already doing this for 30 years. At that point, for most of them, let's say from a professional standpoint, and for most of them, probably 40 of the 50 years, if you take into their amateur and junior careers and stuff like that, maybe they just want to fill in their life with other possible things.
Vacations with their wives that they haven't, they're things like that, where they're going and they're playing, they're not missing cuts, they're making money every tournament they go to. So there's and I don't want to get off the Roy because we're talking about Roy, but I don't want to get off that. But going back to what we said about Rory making 100 million in this many events, and Tiger and Nicklaus before him and Snead. Well, when those guys like Fred Couples and Jack Nicklaus and those guys were coming out of the PGA Tour, were no longer competitive or making money in the PGA Tour, they weren't making millions and millions of dollars. They were still making thousands and thousands of dollars, but not millions. So going to the Champions Tour was just a natural progression to continue to earn income, playing the game, keep their sponsors on their hats and their golf bags and so on and so forth. So that's maybe another way to look at it now, where you got Rory and Tiger coming in. They don't need money. So going to the Champions Tour is for what? Retirement? Well, maybe the retirement to them is spending time with their kids and going to somewhere or running their businesses.
Some want to be competitive. They're very competitive. They miss that aspect of it. That's something that drives in their lives. I mean, even if we look back at Nicklaus had some really bad business happenings. So he needed money. He needed to keep staying in the spotlight. So there's a lot of things that we don't see of reasons, why players do it. But you know what? You can't criticize Rory for not, or decide. He may change his mind, but if he decides that he's going to pack it in 15 years from now, he's more than welcome to it. If he wants to pack it in next year, he can, or whatever. It's his right, people, as far as doing that. So
okay, so let's talk more about Rory. Let's go to the Rory.
And that's, I am talking about Rory. I'm talking, and him, and as far as his career, we sit at this point. He's got 28 PGA Tour wins. He's got 4 majors. He's got 2 players. Does he want more? It's clear that he wants the career Grand Slam for sure.
Yes, that's the big one. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think we can. I mean, we already know right now, if we look at his career, it's a Hall of Fame level career. He's going to go in the World Golf Hall of Fame. It's just a matter of, okay, what's ahead for him? What does he want out of what comes? Got these 2 wins this year. Obviously wants to win a Masters. That I would say is number 1 on the list. Looks primed to do it, but obviously we know from even last year he looked primed to win the U.S. Open with a couple holes left as well. And we have these disasters. Personally, I'm a fan of Rory. Obviously as a journalist, I'm not trying to be biased one way or the other, but I'm going to say, as far as dealing with him on a personal level and having done a couple of interviews with him over the years and stuff like that, he's very thoughtful as far as his answers, how he's doing things. Is he human? Does he make mistakes? Yeah, for sure. 100%. I'm not saying he's perfect, but he's certainly a player that, if you're going to watch him play, and watching him in full flight is pretty damn fun. It's pretty damn fun. And if you say it's not fun to watch him play, especially this year when he's actually controlling his wedges really well, and he's doing a much better job with that. It's a fun thing to watch for sure. What are your thoughts overall?
So one of the things I love watching Rory play, I think it's good to be opinionative. I think it's good to when you're to position as the player that he is, to position himself as the voice of the professional golfers, the PGA Tour in particular. I figured at some point or another there'd be a bit of an about face when it came to the PGA Tour and LIV, and I figured at some point or another that Rory would soften his opinion about that a little bit. Now, while he still hasn't completely said, all the LIV guys should be playing on the PGA Tour and all that, we're still not quite there. But I think that a little bit of an about face on his part does not surprise me. I think a lot of the early stuff was very reactionary by a lot of people. A lot of anger that these guys would do this. Not really a lot of understanding. I mean, even a guy like Brooks Koepka, I know he's had interviews and said, his contract is coming up and he hasn't have any intentions on leaving LIV at this point. And Bryson's sort of been the same way. Usually where there's smoke, there's fire, and I have a feeling that both of those guys will end up back on the PGA Tour, not on LIV. But that's my own opinion, and there's no fact to that. Generally speaking, though, when the media is talking about something in a big way, it's kind of that where there's smoke, there's fire. Somebody knows something, has talked to somebody, and that's how it's kind of leaked out. But we'll wait and see. But I think that with both those guys having contracts up for renewal, and I know that LIV doesn't want to re-up big money with Bryson. I know that there's been some talk about him taking less money, and maybe he just doesn't want to do that anymore. Who knows? He's built his own brand. He doesn't need LIV or the PGA Tour, as far as I'm concerned right now. He's built his own brand that will supersede anything he does professionally on the golf course. That said, with respect to Rory, the one thing with Rory that scares me when it comes to completing the career Grand Slam is obviously we know the one that he needs.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think he's got the putting to do it. And I think that Rory's short game is good, but his putting is so inconsistent that I think that there's certain tournaments that certain golf courses and considering the one major that he needs to complete his career Grand Slam, I don't know that he's got the mental toughness to have a putter that can stand up to that. I mean, when Mike Weir won the Masters, that was a crap ton of 6 and 8 foot, 10 foot, and 12 foot putts and 4 foot putts to win the Masters. He didn't win it because he snuck everything stiff. No. He won it because he made everything.
Yeah.
And he's strong mentally to be able to stand over those 6 and 8 foot putts with all the on those greens and make those putts. All I've seen at a Rory in the last bunch of tournaments, the last bunch of majors, is getting into a situation with those short, makeable putts and not making them when he should make them. And I don't know that if you can't make them in those situations, if you're going to be able to make them in major championship situations when it really, if you're not hitting everything tight all the time. That's my fear. I'm not saying he won't do it. I'm just saying if I have one observation about Rory, it's not ball striking, although you can't hit 4 out of 15 fairways all the time and win.
No, they're not putting. They're not as important because obviously, even if we look at that for TPC, he still managed to shoot 5 under for that particular round. But you look at the fact that he's got seven top 10 finishes at the Masters. I think I agree with where you're going though from a putting wise. I think what he has to do, and which is increasingly harder to do because of the level of the play of all the players, he is going to have to separate himself based on his tee to green game. And get himself in a situation that he is far up enough that the putting doesn't matter as much.
Yes.
Where he doesn't need it from a critical standpoint, so that you're getting your strokes gained based on tee to green. The fact that, especially for him, especially how far he hits the golf ball, that he's on those greens in 2 on the par 5s, that he's making those are auto birdies.
But proximity to the hole, they're
proximity,
autos.
Right, and proximity in a situation that you're increasing your percentage of makes and putting yourself in the situation that you're not giving yourself those missable ones that he has.
Yes, Corey Connors is a perfect example of someone who hits a ton of greens, deadly accurate, but proximity to the hole when he hits those greens is not close enough. So he'll have rounds where he does hit it closer, or the putter gets hot and he scores low, but he's consistently in the fairway on the greens, just not close enough to the hole on a regular basis to shoot 66, 66, 67, 68. There's always going to be a round where his putting is it's not that his putting is bad, it's that he's too putting. He's got birdie putts that are too long. What I saw with Rory at the Players was the same thing that I kind of saw at the US Open. Is you're coming down the stretch, or you're having these 4-footers for birdie, and you're missing them. Now they're not costing you drop shots,
right?
But when you guys that's chasing you are making the birdies, then they are costing you. It's like a drop shot. You're not making bogeys per se, but you're making pars, like making a par on 16 when you should have a birdie. It's just that's what I see from him, and that could I mean, look,
like I said,
we're talking about Rory McIlroy here. I'm sure he can figure it out, but he hasn't figured it out completely yet. And I don't know that the Masters is the one you can figure it out at really easy.
No, and the Masters is a situation where you've got lots of room, more room off the tee than ever. Length is obviously a massive advantage. He can get himself in situations that are good, but you've also got to consider that if he gets too wayward, then those become impossible. So they can be long, but they still got to be within the trees. The one thing that I would like to see him add to his game, that he's much better now with his wedges, right? He's flighting them better. He's scoring better with those, which is going to make a difference as far as putting, because obviously getting it closer, it makes it easier. The hole's bigger.
Yeah, 100%.
The closer you get to it. I would still like to see him, because he's got such speed as it is. I would like to see him have a mix of a drive in his game where he's a little bit more. So generally, he's very up on his drives.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not getting into the technical aspect of what it does as far as control of the club face and where it's going to go, face path, all that deal or whatever. I'd still like to see him have a driver, a second serve driver that still is going to get out there, 320 for him. But it's going to be one that's not the big drive that he can put into play. And it's clear that TPC, he struggled a lot when he was trying to hit certain shapes and trying to hit into certain fairways, that he just didn't. That was one thing that was missing. He got away with it, as you mentioned.
Yeah,
that one round.
But even when he pulled out that 3-iron, that modified 3-iron that he was using, he couldn't hit the fairway with it.
Yeah, so
it's like, okay, you got this club that's obviously designed so you can work the ball and get it into play on the holes, like, but you're hitting it. Now, didn't hurt him all that much half the time because he's good out of the bunkers. But the point is, you got a club that you're having in your bag to hit it into the fairway, and you're not hitting the fairway.
You better hit in the fairway. So I would say his angle of attack needs to be a little bit more level with those, and not way up, which is the sign that we see when players that are obviously trying to launch the golf ball with low spin heading a long way, which he does with his drives. So that would be one element that might be helpful. And good God, I shouldn't be giving any advice to Rory McIlroy, that's for sure. But that's one thing that
more qualified than I am.
Yeah, but that's one thing that it would be neat to see. And again, these wedges are a big difference. Now, he's going to have to depend on that. We're going to really see how good these wedges are when it comes to Augusta. I would say that if he gets that win at Augusta, people are going to look at him much differently than if he is sitting here without it for most of his career, as he has been for a while, not having won a major in a while. I think it's going to change kind of the outlook on him. As far as what he does off the golf course, he's got the camera on him all the time. So we're going to hear his opinions. I mean, there's a million golfers that have gone through and nobody pays attention to him. As we talked about, there's golfers that can, walk down the, Home Depot and nobody's even going to, they're going to make the millions, but nobody's going to put a camera in their face and nobody's going to ask for an autograph. And they're in a better situation. They might have opinions that would send fans through the roof, but we're never going to hear them. But obviously Rory's in front of the camera. He's get pulls into the press room all the time or whatever. And you can't expect him to say nothing. He's going to say something, whether you agree with it or not. But we also have to understand that his insight that he has is better than all of us that are on the other side of the microphone.
Absolutely. 100%.
He knows more what's going on in the background.
You have to respect him.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, you have to. And whether you get a situation, we're running out of time here, I know. So we're not going to get into, pulling cameras or phones away from fans and stuff like that. And that he
needs to stop with that stuff. That's not good for the brand.
Right. But but there's another side of that too, as far as that's a University of Texas golfer who should know better. And obviously has repercussions. There's repercussions. We can talk about fan behavior another time or whatever, but I wouldn't use that as a knock. Obviously everybody used that as a knock against Rory. Well, guess what? It wouldn't happen if this other person hadn't done it in the first place. So I think overall, I think he's done an amazing job with his career. That 100 million's fun to watch. Looking forward to him getting that Masters win, hopefully, and enjoying him playing for as long as we get to see him play.
I hope he gets the Masters win. I really feel like if anybody deserves the career Grand Slam, he does. He certainly has the game to do it, and maybe he'll figure out the putting. Scheffler's streaky with a putter too. He's as good as he's been the last couple of years, especially last year. When Scheffler doesn't do well, it's a lot of times it has to do with the fact that he can't make a putt when he needs to. So putting's hard. Putting's hard, man.
Yeah. Guess what, people? Practice your putting.
Yeah, exactly.
Take a putting lesson. Don't just
put some effort into the putting.
Yeah. Okay? Just because you don't hit a putt out of bounds doesn't mean you're a good putter.
Exactly. All right. Well, that's going to do it for us for this week. Great podcast once again. Love the discussion stuff. I think we need to do more and more of that because just a lot of back and forth chatter, a lot of discussion on some points. We'll see if Paige says anything else dumb in the next week that I can.
Somebody will.
Somebody will. Yeah, it might not be her. I like Paige. Just this was kind of got me a little bit. Anyway, all right. Well, thank you. Thanks to all our sponsors, Metcalfe Golf Club, Celtic Golf Center, and of course our presenting sponsor this week, Golf PEI. Golf Prince Edward Island is a premier Canadian golf destination boasting the most number of golf courses per capita in the country, with over 400 fairways closer than you think. Top tier accommodations and exquisite culinary experiences. It is the easiest golf vacation you will ever book, so go ahead and book it at golfpei.ca. Hopefully enjoying hearing and watching us. Be sure to follow us across all social media networks, Instagram, X, Facebook, and TikTok. Subscribe to us on Spotify, Audible, Amazon Music, and Apple Podcasts, and hit us up on YouTube, like us, and click the notification bell to make sure you never miss a single episode. Get over to flagstick.com. More amazing golf content delivered every single day. Subscribe to the Flagstick Digest newsletter to get that information sent to your inbox 3 times a week. And the course opening calendar coming soon. So make sure flagstick.com, check it out. As always, we appreciate you tuning in. Until next week, I am Jeff Botter.
I'm Scott McLeod.
Remember, always go for the stick.